We believe in the power of theater to transform lives. We believe in making art as a family of artists. We believe it is a right that you have to explore yourself creatively.
Hi, my name is Brenna Horner, and I'm an everyman theater teaching artist as well as a professional actor. I'm joining you today to explore a new perspective in the world of theater through Everyman's high school matinee program. I'd like to ask you to think about the 4 things that we know are essential to creating theater. Go ahead and drop them into the chat now. Of those 4 things, today we'll be honing in on one of them and exploring a little bit deeper, and that's the role of the actor. At Everyman, we define theater as live performance of a story for an audience. If we know actors are essential to creating theater, how do we define the actor? The job of the actor is to bring a character to life. Believably. And that last part's really important. What tools do you think we have in order to do that? How do we do that? That's a great segue into talking about our actors' tools, the tools that we all have at our disposal to creating a believable character. In order to give my character a physical life, I use my body. In order to craft a vocal life, I use my voice. All of my creative thoughts come from my imagination, and I approach everything with heart. And that's something we all have. Let's shift gears a little bit to talking about Queen's Girl in the World, the play that we're using as the vehicle to explore the perspective of the actor. Caleen Sinette Jennings is the woman who wrote this piece. It's an autobiographical play reflecting her journey, her life. And Caleen is a Queen's girl in the world. She's a woman from Queens living in this big, awful, wonderful, scary, amazing world. If you could write your own play about your life, an autobiographical piece, what would you call it? For example, if I were to write a play about my life, I'm tall, I'm 5'10", so I might call my piece A Tall Girl in a World Where I Don't Apologize for the Space I Occupy. In a less literal sense, I might call my piece An Artist in a World That Needs to Feel Things. I want you to take a few minutes, drop into the chat what your play would be entitled. Have fun entitling your piece. Think about how it reflects you, your journey. What would your story be about? And how would the title reflect that? Have fun.
before Black and the Green Mountain existed, when you just had this one powerful moment of your life that you decided or were inspired to share. So if you can rewind all the way back for us, what was the inspiration or the impetus, if you will, to connect to your own story in this way? What inspired you to share it?
Well, the irony is that I wrote it to prove to someone that I couldn't write it. I had a friend and mentor, wonderful gentleman, older gentleman named Philip Rose. And Philip Rose had been in the theater many, many, many years. We met and struck up a friendship and began to work together. He was actually writing a second book, and he asked me to help write with him. And as we got to know one another, he kept saying, you should write your autobiography. You should write your life story. I said, Phil, nobody would be interested. Really, I don't write autobiography. It's not, who would care? And the thing about Phil is he was like a dog with a bone. Once he got an idea, he would not let it go. So he nagged and he nagged and he nagged me. And I happened to get a grant, the first grant I'd ever gotten to do a writer's retreat, which meant I could go away for 10 days and do nothing but write. No teaching, no cooking, no nothing. So this was the first time that ever happened to me. So I said, you know what? I am going to get him off my back once and for all. I'm going to show him I can't do it. And I started writing. The first image that came to me was sitting on my steps. And I started writing from there. And I discovered, number one, I was having fun. Number two, a lot of dialogue popped up. You see, I tend to think of autobiography as narrative writing, as in a novel or a typical autobiography. But because I'm a theater person, I think in dialogue, and I remember conversations and dialogue. So as I began to, work on this over the course of that 10-day retreat, I said, somebody could probably perform this. and I said, oh, I could give it a try. So I did it a couple of times. And then I directed some friends doing it. And over the period of about 10 years, this popped up in various forms. Sometimes me doing it, sometimes me directing it, sometimes somebody else doing it. And it was always so ironic how that, came to be, because I was actually proving I couldn't.
Queen's Girl in the World. We meet Jacqueline Marie Butler. On her stoop, we will join her on a wild ride as she comes into her own self, her own womanhood, and her own realization of what it means to be Jacqueline in the world. Dawn Ursula, an incredible company member at Everyman Theater, will play 12 different roles as she steps into the life and times of Caleen Sinette Jennings, brought to us via Jacqueline Marie Butler. This is part one of a 3-part story: Queen's Girl in the World, Queen's Girl in Africa, and then Queen's Girl Black in the Green Mountain. About why you started the story where you did. We could go all the way back to the birth of Caleen, right? Why did you choose to start the play where you did? And can you reflect a little bit maybe about the context of history as a young person in where you chose to start?
Well, I think 11, 12, 13 are magical years. I think that's where you really begin to think about yourself and see yourself in relationship to family, in relationship to friends, in relationship to the world. Mm-hmm. Our bodies are growing and changing so much from age 0 to 10. I think we make an incredible leap intellectually from 11, 12, 13, 14. Of course, our bodies continue to change throughout adolescence, which is mind-blowing. But I think there's a huge leap here in terms of the ability to look out and see the world around us and to experience others very intensely. So literally when I was when I sat down to write, the first image that came to me was being 12, sitting on my stoop and kind of watching the world go by and thinking about who else was in my neighborhood and how did I come to be sitting on this stoop when everybody else had gone somewhere else. And so that was sort of the first image that came to mind. I think also the interesting thing about being 11, 12, 13, I think those are the drama years. Those are the years when you're most likely to experience conflict with you and how your body is changing, conflict with your siblings. You begin to sort of challenge and think about what your parents tell you as opposed to, dad says so, so that's right. You begin to think, well, why is dad right? And do I think he's right? And you also, if you're lucky, you begin to get exposed to other adults. So you may look at an aunt or an uncle in a different way and begin to think about how they're different from your mom and dad and so forth. So I think those moments of conflict when you say, oh my gosh, there are multiple ways I could go here. There are different kinds of decisions I could make. How do I make those decisions? What am I basing them on? I think that's sort of a sweet spot in terms of human development, 11, 12, 13 and up. So that's kind of, I think, where I started the story.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. And I feel
So let's get started, stepping into the actor's shoes. Before every performance, an actor will find their own space in the theater and take anywhere from 10 to 50 minutes to warm up their bodies and voices. This will look different for every actor, but today we're going to present you a short snapshot of what it could look like. So I'm going to invite you to stand on up from your desk or your bed or wherever you may be and get ready to get your heart rate up, focus your mind, and to connect with our voices. I will tell you that it is going to be a little silly sounds, silly movements, but it is all a part of the process and we encourage you to embrace us. So let's go.
Okay, folks, here we go. Shoulders up to the ears. Inhale. Exhale. I'm going to do that 5 times. Roll the shoulders forward 5 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Take the chin over the right shoulder. Take the chin over the left shoulder. Take the chin down to the chest to stretch this area of the neck. Take the chin up, lengthening through the neck, up into the chin, through the ceiling, so that you're not pinching here, like so. We don't want to see that. We want to see a lengthening in the front of the neck. So actors do a lot of communicating right here. We want to make sure that area is nice and open and very stretched, feeling very limber. Next, we're going to take a 5-count shakeout. And what this looks like is you're going to shake each limb, hands and feet. Even though you may not be able to see them in the shot, you'll know what's happening. You'll see me wobbling all over the place. We're going to count down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then go back to 4, 3, 2, 1. It's going to look like this. Go ahead and join me. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 3, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. And exhale. Take a big starfish pose, stretching your limbs as wide as they can go. It's okay to stretch the back here, open the chest. And exhale, sigh it out. Next, we're going to take the upper half of the body and let it be heavy over the lower half of the body. So soft bend in the knees, making sure we're not locking the knees here. And then you're going to hinge from the hips. Go ahead and shift your weight forward into your toes ever so slightly to stabilize yourself. And you're going to let everything be heavy. It's going to look like this. Okay, so your arms are heavy, your head is heavy, neck is
Loose, everything's limber. Shake the head, nod the head, yes. Shake the head, no. 5 rounds of breath here. You'll feel your heart starting to slow down from the shake out. We're going to start to rise, keeping those knees bent, shifting the weight in the feet towards the heels as you rise, but we're going to rise one vertebra at a time so that the head is the very last thing to rise. Imagine yourself stacking your vertebra one by one on top of each other as you come to a straight spine. Very good. Hope you're warm. Hope you're ready to go. Should feel nice and limber, loose, and hopefully your body temperature and your heart rate have increased to get you ready to go and into character.
Hello, my name is Lillian, and I'm an actor based in New York City. I was recently in a production at Everyman Theater called Murder on the Orient Express, and I understand you guys are going to be seeing that soon. I hope you enjoy it. I'm going to share with you a very quick part of my vocal warm-up that I do every day called channel resonators. The goal for this is just to connect the different parts of your body with various sounds, consonants and vowels. So make sure your feet are firmly planted but loose and relaxed. Take a deep breath. We're going to start from the bottommost sound to the top of our head. Really try to connect the sound you're making with the body part you're using and connect to mood with it, right? It should really all feel jointed because really you're exercising your whole body and the sounds but connecting mood and vowels and consonants as well. Here we go. Starting with the legs. Lowest sound. Pretend you're jumping in a pile of hot coals, right? Zoo. Now we're going to go up to our pelvis. Big round sound as your mouth mimics that sound as well. Whoa! Whoa! Up to our belly. You want to shake your belly as you make the sound, right? Shaw. Shaw. Now to our chest. Pretend you've just been stabbed in the chest bone, right? And make the sound that goes with it, really explosive. Gah! Gah! And now open it back up. Think of your heart. We're going to your heart now. Think of the love you have for your mother. Ma. Ma. Now up to your lips and mouth. Fa-ha! Like surprise. Fa-ha! Now up to the mid-cheeks and the cheekbones. Ba-da. 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 Now up to your nose, where your nose and your nasal cavities and your sinuses. Think about those nee, 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 nee sounds. Shoot like bullets from your nose. Nee, 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 nee. Nee, 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 nee. Now up to your eyes. You're shooting like stars from your eyes, or you see something you like. Pay! Like, hey! But it's pay! Like, hey now, right? I see you. Pay! Up to the forehead. Pretend you're kicking somebody with your forehead, right? Kick! 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 Really embrace that sound, right? Kick! 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 Finally, up to our crown, the topmost sound. It's like a spinny top coming out of your head. Now we're going to put that all together. Zoo. Whoa. Shaw. Go. Ma. Fa-ha. Fa-ha. Ba-da. Ba-da. Nee, 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 nee. Pay. Kick, kick, kick. And if you have time, you can do the reverse. Kick, kick, kick. Pay. me. Da, ba, da, ba. Fa, ha. Ma, ga. Sha, wo, zoo. And that's all there is to it. I hope that's helpful. Again, the more you do it, the more fun you have with it, the better it feels and the better it kind of warms you up. So give it a try and hope it works for you. And remember, this is just one of many vocal warm-ups that you can do.
A story font by which we really learn so much about ourselves and our communities in the world. So let me just put that out there. But I'd love to get into something kind of practical and technical, perhaps, around why a one-person show?
Well, I was trained as an actor, and the thing that I've always trained as an actor and always assumed that I would make my living as an actor, and majored in college, went to grad school, very good grad school, NYU Tisch, and got out and could not get roles. And finally realized, and I'm living in New York City, I'm a native New Yorker, I'm auditioning all over New York, and the answer was, thank you, not quite what we're looking for. And at a certain point, I had to realize I am not going to make my living doing the thing I love to do most in the world. And I really didn't think I'd be able to survive without acting. And through a wonderful teacher who assigned, in graduate school, who assigned a research paper. And she said, or you can do something creative. So I said to her, can I write a play? She said, sure. Now, only somebody who hasn't written a play would say, can I write a play?
That was like, yeah, do we know what we're saying? What are we getting into here?
Exactly. But I wrote a play and I heard it read aloud and I said, oh my gosh, this is even more fun than acting. I didn't think it was possible. But I've always loved the idea that, number one, the impulse to act comes from our time as 3-year-olds and 2-year-olds when you say, look,
yes.
I'm a space captain. Look, I'm a fireman.
Yes.
Look, the impulse to pretend to be someone else is just like breathing, eating, and sleeping. It's so ingrained as in us as human beings. And the magic of theater is, the magic of childhood is, when that kid says, look, I'm a fireman, he or she completely believes they are a fireman in that moment. And that's what happens when you go to the theater. You're sitting in a seat and someone comes out and tells you who they are. You know they are not that person, but you believe them. You pay your money to go and sit and believe something you know is not true.
I know. It's a little absurd when you say it that way, but it's
crazy.
But it's magical and necessary. At the
yes.
same time.
As you say, it's a necessary magic. Yeah. And I knew that had I been a little more lucky being an actor, I would have loved to play so many parts. And I knew that I had those parts in me. And I said, oh my gosh, somebody's going to get a chance to magically transform in front of all these people. That is the magic of theater. And in fact, one of my favorite comments, a friend of mine came to see Queen's Girl in the World. And there's a moment where Persephone and Jackie and Karen Rubin are having a conversation. And my friend said to me, Caleen, I saw 3 people on that stage, but there was only one actor. It's a moment when your mind is fooled by your eye, or your eye is fooled by your mind. And I think that's the power of theater. So I really can, and people, when I wrote part 2 and part 3, people said, are you sure you don't want to open it up and make it, because a one-person show can be hard to do if you don't have the right actor.
Mhm.
And a couple of people said, you sure you don't want to make it a 3-person cast or 5-person cast? I believe in the power
Mm.
of an actor to make us see things that we can't literally see. Because listen, if I can make somebody see 3 people when there's only 1 person, why is it that I can't make somebody imagine world peace? Why
Mm.
can't I help somebody imagine a day where everybody respects each other and is able to get along?
Mm.
If you can imagine that, you can imagine anything. And once you
Mhm.
imagine it, you can do it.
That's powerful. That's wonderful. I love that. It is the ultimate celebration of transformation.
It is.
Hi, I'm Brianna Gibson Reeves, a professional stage and screen actress residing right here in the charm city of Baltimore, Maryland. So I'm super excited to be here today to jumpstart this discussion on building a character. Now, there are basically 2 approaches: inward out and outward in. Inward out, as the name implies, you start on the inside with your character's internal emotional rhythm, much of which is going to be defined for you in the text, in the play, in the script. The playwright has left you little nuggets about how your character may operate emotionally. And then once you have discovered the internal emotional life of your character, then you can flesh that out and discover how your character lives physically. On the other side, outward in, just as the name applies, we're going to do the opposite. We're going to start with the physicality of our character, finding where our character lives in our body and in our voice. And then once we have determined that through a lot of play, then and only then can we begin to flesh out the internal workings of our character. How does our character think emotionally? How do they react emotionally? How do they make decisions emotionally? 2 approaches. Neither one is right or wrong, just 2 different ways of creating a character.
Now let's play with embracing an outward-in approach to character. We're going to watch the scene that Caleen mentioned earlier, where Dawn plays 3 distinct characters in the span of about a minute and a half. Let's watch.
As we walk up Erickson Street, there's Persephone sitting on my stoop, sucking on a great twinsicle. Who's that girl, Jackie? Why are her lips purple? Ain't you got no manners, Jack? I'm Persephone. What's your name? Karen Rubin. Hey, Karen, how you doing? My cousin in Canarsie got a friend named Karen. She ain't white, though. I would have been Jack's best friend if she would have come to PS 16. You got good hair and nice bangs. Don't she got nice bangs? Actually, one of y'all could come to my house. Earl been asking about you. Maybe I'll call him and tell him to come over. James, my boyfriend, he got light eyes. You gonna wait about Karen? I don't know no white boys outside that James to bring somebody for you. Y'all come over. And Jack don't wanna come by yourself, Karen. I live right there. I got my own transit and I teach you how to feel it. Don't bring up your mom, Karen. Go and ask Miss Grace if you can come to my house. She'll say yes to you. Oh, what's good? Ask Miss Grace if I can come inside and hang out with y'all. I better Karen behind me and shut the door fast. Why does she call you Jack? What's your Philly dog? Who's your Earl? Does she know about her boys? Let's go. Ask me about it. Why not? Why not, Jackie? Why not? Then I'll ask her myself. And I will. Not just a tiny Jesus will forgive me because he understands I have to protect myself lie. I lie a novel of how Persephone looks and hates white people. And carries a knife to cut off white girls' hair. I'll tell Karen Persephone never bathes and has body lice. That she'll punch her in the face and kick her in the vagina. She's a lesbian.
Now that we've seen it once, we're going to watch this clip again, and this time we're going to look at the physicality of the characters. I'll point out some of the observations as we watch. We start with Jackie briefly, and then we meet Karen. Let's first look at Karen's body language. Her arms are crossed, and most of her body is facing away from Jackie. This already tells us about her personality. She is closed off and standoffish. The next thing to observe is where she is holding tension in her body. I see it particularly in her shoulders. This tells us that she may be nervous or uncomfortable. So we've already learned so much about this character just from a brief look at her body.
Creating a physical character can be daunting. Like, where do I start? But there's a couple of things that you can actually control, change, dip into, and adjust that if you focus on any one of these things and you make one simple change, you'll start to step into somebody else's physical life. Those things can include everything from thinking about your rate of speed. How fast does this person walk? What about their tension? Where do they carry tension? How can I demonstrate that with my body? What is my stride, my size of stride? How big or short are my steps? What about my weight? How do I manifest my weight on my body? What about my character lead? That's the part of your body that enters space first. When you shift your character lead, it could be your nose, it could be your stomach, it could be an elbow. Any one of these things, if you start to observe yourself, you probably have a part of your body you enter space with first. So character lead can be a really powerful thing to control and change to discover a different way of existing. There are a few other important ingredients that one can focus on that you'll see appearing all around me. These are the ways in to creating a physical life for a character. So now that you have a sense of all of the possible ingredients that somebody can focus on to bring a character to life physically, I would suggest that these same things that could be floating around in our brains also could be applied vocally. What happens if you think about vocal tension? What happens if you think about rate of speech? What does this information offer to an audience? So now we are going to pass it back to our teaching artist, Brianna Gibson-Reeves, to analyze the same idea vocally.
So we're going to do this character exploration work through a simple exercise. I'm going to come in and greet the room as a character. Hey, how are you? That, my friends, was just neutral, Brianna. That's how I would greet you if we were sharing the same space physically together. So now that you've met neutral, Brianna, let me introduce you to some of my characters. Hi. How are you? Oh, that's so good. Well, greetings. Greetings. How is everybody doing today? Well, now.
Other actors do it. We then got in conversation, and actors would tell me their interpretation of what was going on with Jackie. And it was amazing because these were things I had never thought of before, even though I had lived the experience. So I had people say things to me like, oh, well, Persephone was just jealous of you and she didn't know how to. I said, oh my gosh, of course. Why didn't I see it that way? So the loop of learning kept going. And that was the thing that was so fascinating for me. And I wanted to also see, you know, if people like this little piece, maybe they'd like this little piece. And so it's curiosity. As my friend says, you know, you have to allow your curiosity to be bigger than your terror.
Oh, that's great. That's a fabulous nugget. That's a fabulous nugget. It's really a good nugget for life. You know, I think so often when we have these conversations and y'all know, because you've been in my classrooms before, right? And I've been in your classrooms before, that
a lot of times we're talking about theater and then it feels like we're talking about life. It's that blurred line moment that I think makes theater necessary, essential, and also radical in its act. Because ultimately, an actor's job is to bring a character to life believably using their body, their voice, their imagination, and their heart. The reason that we spend time thinking about crafting a physical and a vocal life is to honor that character's truth so that you in the audience can give over to the story and be immersed within it and believe it fully. One of those key tenets to creating a character is to look at your character lead. So for this next exercise, I've invited some very special company members to come and join us. There is a connection to the play guide if you end up wanting to find the inspiration for this next exercise, the Ministry of Silly Walks.
Hello there, I'm Danny Gavigan, company member, and you will see me next in Murder on the Orient Express.
Hi, I'm Bruce Nelson, company member at Everyman Theater, and you just saw me as Lindner from A Raisin in the Sun and The House That Holds Us. You will see me in Murder on the Orient Express.
Oh, they are so funny. It's your turn. Enough talk. Let's play. Don't worry, I'm going to guide you through this. We're going to utilize an acting technique that is improvisation. You may have heard of that before, but at the end of the day, improv is unscripted theater. So we're going to focus on creating characters, and I'm going to lead you through a progression that you can do in class. So this very first progression, Danny and Bruce are going to demonstrate for you, and then you get the chance to do it as well. I randomly selected a noun and an adjective to give to Danny. This is an exercise called park bench. Bruce is a normal guy sitting on a park bench. Danny's task is to make a physical and a vocal choice that match the words I gave him. He's going to bring that character in. Bruce is going to observe that character, and this character is going to multiply. So Bruce is going to embrace all of Danny's choices. He's going to say yes and physically and vocally, and he is going to take on the same character that Danny is showing. So he's actually going to show physically and vocally that he understands the character that Danny is demonstrating. Once that occurs, then he'll find a reason to leave. So all you need for this is a noun and an adjective and two folks who are willing to turn their cameras on and play. Cycle through the class, see who's up for it. Just keep in mind Caleen's words. Let your curiosity be bigger than your terror. It's so much fun.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, it's the bus stop! It's the bus stop! It's the best! I've never seen this park bench before! What do I do? What do I do? I sit here, I'm sitting, cross-legged. I got smelly feety! Really smelly feety!
Oh, look, I found something.
Oh my god, you found something! What is it? What is it?
stone.
It's a stone. Is it expensive? Is it like gold? Is it diamonds? Is it diamonds? Can it cut glass?
It's
Can it
gold.
cut the glass of my eye?
Cut the
I
glass.
have an eye.
Cut. Put stone back. Stone.
Oh my God, my grandma's here. I can't believe she's here. She found me. She found me. Grandma, it's me. It's me. I better go. You better look into that. Get a magnifying glass. It might be worth something. Bye.
Hey, Grandma.
Nice job. Great. You ready for the second progression? So this time I gave Danny and Bruce something a little different. I asked Bruce to come in and I offered him a randomly selected job and an objective. And an objective is the goal, the thing he needed to do in the scene. We're going to talk more about that in a different workshop. But a job and a task, a goal to accomplish. I said that they could use words if they wanted to, but I encouraged them to see if they could communicate that goal without using words. Next level stuff. Let's see what happens, and then you're going to get the chance to play.
So what do you got? What do you got for me? Come on.
It ain't pretty.
So it's ugly.
It ain't pretty.
I see. Okay. All right. That's okay. But is it capable of putting on some makeup?
Now, you need to say that again.
If it ain't pretty, okay?
Yeah.
Can we put lipstick on it? Make it pretty. Ish.
Yeah. We could put lipstick onto it to make it prettier.
Hey, keep it down. Don't yell at me. Come here. People hearing us, all right? Come on.
It's walking.
Okay, louder, because I can't hear you.
Well, what are you talking? You fine?
Nothing. Don't worry about it.
Nice work. So this was a fun way to get you stepping into the shoes of the actor. And you get to bring all of this knowledge and these questions into what's going to happen next. So when we meet again, you'll have the opportunity to sit back, relax, and enjoy Caleen Sinette Jennings' Queen's Girl in the World. I hope that you are able to observe the way that Dawn Ursula portrays Jacqueline Marie Butler, and all of the different ways outward in, that she brings the 12 people to life in Jacqueline's life for you. This play is full of humor. It's full of hope. It's full of heart. There are a few moments in the play that are really challenging to observe. So I want you to know going into the play that you're going to witness history, real history. And you're going to also witness discoveries that she's making about herself that I hope you can open and listen to with open hearts and minds. Always a pleasure. I hope you had fun, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Take care.